Hey, VC here. So I wanted to show you the day that Chaz and I got 3 KOMs. We were out on a group ride, having a good time. My short bursts were good, so I was leading out Chaz for 2 of the climbs, and then I got myself my own on kind of a descent deal. So 3 KOMs. The first one was from Fats, who actually got that, I think, on the Yosemite cycling camp. So that's the first one we're going for. I'm going to lead Chaz out, and we've got 2 cameras, and so I've got, in green is my power, right? So this is on board Chaz, and I'm giving him the lead out, and you can see that that is my power. Now again, my power, when we did this, my 3 to 5 minute power was pretty good, about the best it's ever been. And so I wanted to lead out Chaz. And you can see here Chaz is on my wheel, and he's doing like 200 less watts than I am, which is just really crazy. You know, you can see just how much drafting plays a part. Right here, I was like, oh, the dude went to the left and then the right. Almost wrecked into him. But so they were a part of the group ride that we were all on, and we were kind of just riding with them, and then certain points we were going for the KOMs. I held, I think, about 4 to 5 minutes of this, and then Chaz was just sitting on my wheel. Up in the very top left, you can see the orange is the current KOM, and then in red is Chaz's time for this effort. And so he's just sitting on my wheel, and he's getting a lot of draft because we're only doing, 5 to 6% gradient. And I'm just slaying myself for Mr. Chaz so that he doesn't have to burn any matches, and when he's ready that he launches it. Now we did have the Wahoos on. He had his Wahoo, I had my Wahoo, so I could absolutely see exactly how much time we were ahead or behind. So it was really easy when you have the live Strava KOM segments, so that I flick off. Now we flick to his power, right? So now it's in red, that's his, and so he starts smashing it, and I'm like blown, right? I'm burnt. But again, on the Wahoo Bolt, you can see the live segments, so I actually see that I'm still like 40 seconds up on the KOM, and so I kept going at least as much as I could. Chaz just murdered it. This is what was really weird though, is that the KOM wasn't at the crest of the hill. And so I saw Chaz when I was behind him. I saw him coming up, and then he just like starts to blow up right about now and like swerving over the road. And I'm like, no, he didn't make it. But I guess the KOM is right here. Weird spot. So he beat it by 1 minute and 2 seconds. I still, though, actually ended up beating the previous KOM. Next target, though, Daniel Martin. Now, this one is a much longer one. I actually went for this one on the diaper ride. Jerome, a fellow vegan cyclist, he led me out, and I think I missed it by 20 seconds or something like that. I definitely missed it, but I did blow up during that effort. So Chaz and I are pretty exhausted. This is pretty deep in the ride, and I'm gonna give him the best lead out I can, but man, my legs are pretty destroyed. My overall fitness wasn't very good right now, just my short interim fitness. Again, the top left, you can see kind of how that real-time interaction was with the current KOM and then Chaz. And man, at this point, Chaz's, my surges aren't really, I'm not dipping into 600, 700 watts. And so Chaz is just seriously sitting at like high threshold, high tempo, low threshold, while I am, dipping into VO2 max type effort. And so you just see even on a climb that drafting at 4%, right? It's 4 to 6%. So that the drafting is making a big difference. And so this climb though, 15-minute KOM, you kind of have to pace yourself a little bit. But if you know your 20-minute power, then you can kind of stick around there. But we're also at elevation. I mean, this is around 4,000 or 5,000 feet of elevation, so the air's thin. But Chaz is doing good. Chaz is light, man. Chaz is so light, and his bike is light, and his everything is light. So he's just he's able to just sit in my wheel, man. And I'm putting out some decent power, but I'm just like, I can't hold this much longer. And I know that once I start to dip below like 350 watts, I kind of just have to flick off, right? And say, okay, man, it's up to you. And so then Chaz goes, and he doesn't surge this time. Last time on the 6-minute effort, Chaz really like snapped off my wheel. But this one, you can see, I only took him up 1/3 of the way, if that, right? So he's got a lot more ground to cover. And so he has to kind of pace himself. But again, with the Wahoo Bolt or Element, the live Strava segment is so awesome. It totally tells you like what your pace is, what your projected time of arrival is based on your power output. It tells you how far or ahead of the time you are, and that's in real time. So he kind of knows, that if he's a couple seconds up, it can gauge. It's almost cheating, really, if you're going for a Strava segment, because you can totally tell what someone else is doing. So at the very top here, he gives a little effort, and I didn't do much to help him. I gave him very little help, but he snagged it by 41 seconds. My best time, that wasn't on this day, but the next guy, Tyler, got to snipe him because he has my name. So this one is a downhill with a few little kickers inside of there, and ends with a big kicker. Now, I felt like it's not really fair to get drafted. If you're going for a KOM, you really should be doing it all on your own. Chaz got some help, whatever. That was, it's on a climb, but on a downhill, look, I need to be the one that does this. It needs to be solely me. I just had Chaz go up the road a little bit so that he didn't get the KOM, right? Like, I don't want to be leading him out and then Strava give him the KOM. And so on this one, now it's not super fair because this is a part of the Grizzly Century where I think a lot of people, this is after the rest stop, not a lot of people have ripped this segment. There's actually a point at which a lot of people turn left and then you just go a little bit further. So it is a poached KOM all day long because I think I beat it by 3 minutes and 40 seconds, like something outrageous. But it just wasn't. It was up for grabs, if you will. And honestly, it's not really. There's not much technicality going on. We just go as fast as you can down. And then on the little risers, you just like out of the saddle sprint your face off, because those little tiny kickers is where you can lose all that time. Like if you just coast into it. And so on my Wahoo, I'm looking at the segment, and instantly I'm up by like 40 seconds. And it was just like it kept going up and up and up, and I was just like, oh my goodness. At a certain point when it was up by 3 minutes. You're like, dude. But it's a beautiful descent. It's so amazing. I did this all my own. Chaz didn't help me on this descent, so at least that's something. But, anyway, this is, there's not much to this, so I'm just going to show you, I don't know, some highlights of this descent. And yeah, so that's about that. I'm about to hit the final little dip down here and the little kicker. And I'm way up. I can see on the Wahoo again, I'm like 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes up. Trying to stay as aero as possible in the aero tuck. And by pinching my knees, I really pinch my knees against the top tube. It helps me kind of stabilize. I also like push my arms. So I'm like in the drops and I'm pushing my arms back and I'm pushing my butt into the seat post. And it sort of like creates this, I don't know, elongating of the bike, and it sort of stabilizes it. My elbows would flick out every once in a while just because I was hesitant on if I needed to stand up or not, because there's some turns where it's like, oh man, I probably don't know if I should be in the full tuck on this. So that's just why my arms are flicked out. But so this is the last little kicker and I'm wrecked. And we have a good 2,500 feet of climbing left after this. So, you know, it's and the motivation is kind of over. I mean, I can see just how far up on the KOM I am and just how bad I'm poaching it. And then the left turn was over there, so this is where it stops. And that's kind of a bummer, right? When people make a Strava segment that ends kind of after the popular turnaround, or anyway. 1942, I beat it by 3 minutes 38 seconds against it's not highly contested, right? This KOM is not that contested, but 3 KOMs, 2 from Chaz, 1 from me. I helped Chaz out. It was fun. It was awesome. Good day. I have the full adventure ride from this day coming out. And as always, vegan cyclist. Yeah.